was going to hit the fan. So I was going to get my hit of troubleshooting. So I would block, we talk about time blocking. I would block that off so that nothing else would come in. So I wouldn't book projects or routine kind of work to do that. I knew. And by the way, if things didn't hit the fan, then I can decide what kind of tasks that I wanted to do. Having those blocks of time are usually pretty predictable, particularly if you're in customer service or in project design and so forth. And if you can block the times out and say, I think this is going to be this kind of tasks, okay, then I need to add something else later on in the day and be able to do that. Now, the one thing I want to be really clear to everyone here is that if any particular point, whether it's a routine or troubleshooting or project task, that you are in the zone, that you're in flow, you don't have to, do not stop what you're doing. So like I said, when I'm developing a project, I could be in there for 3 hours. It's usually about the 2-hour time where my brain starts wanting to do something else. A lot of times it'll just continue. Don't stop. Don't say, oh, I have to stop to do this. If you're in the zone, that's really what we want, because that's where the satisfaction and motivation is going to come from.
Yeah. And that's why it's called flow. So stay in there. And I'm a big proponent of time blocking, and I tell my clients the same thing is when you're in flow, when you're in your zone, when you are losing track of time, just stay in there, because all that yumminess comes out. You will eventually know the difference and start recognizing that there is a world out there outside of whatever it is that you're working on. That's when you know, okay, maybe it's time that I can shift, but you lose some yumminess. And I know that I've tried when I first started doing time blocking, I would be very regimented about it. And I would lose some creativity that I was like, oh, I should have just kept going, because now it's lost because I was literally in the zone. So like you said, Kevin, stay in that zone and finish out whatever it is that you're working on. That's the yumminess there. The other thing that earlier I said that anybody who has like a repetitive tasks or maybe working on a production line or something like that, we don't have a lot of control over moving between routines and troubleshooting and project tasks, things like that. We don't have potentially that opportunity. But my understanding is there was a woman who actually did their thesis on your thesis to take that to another level. Talk to us about that. I think this is so interesting.
Yeah. So probably in early 2000s, I had gotten an email from Dr. Holly Martin. She was she's a doctor of dentistry, and she was doing an additional doctorate in organizational leadership. And she said, "Hey, I read your dissertation. First of all, that's unusual, right? To have someone say, "Hey, I went out and just casual reading your dissertation."
That's like the Academy Awards for doctorates,
Yeah. So first of all, I was really excited about somebody actually read the research I had done. And then she said, I am the person that manages employee engagement for this gigantic, I don't think I can release the name, big company, like tens of thousands of people in Connecticut for aircraft manufacturing. And she said, I'd like to do my dissertation based on your dissertation. Can I get access to your assessment to be able to use? She said, we've got about 39 different departments. She said, I have one department over the last, I think it was 5 to 7 years, that we have not been able to push the needle, right? That we do lots and lots of different things to try to improve employee engagement. And we have one department that no matter what we've done, can't do that. So she says, I've got a really good sample here that I can use compared to other ones. Can I do this? And I thought, I was really excited. And then I hung up the phone and I thought, oh, crap, what happens if my assessment doesn't work? And of course, it did work, which was the good news. And she did her dissertation. And what she found, which was really valuable to me, was not only by that you could increase by using the task quotient and time blocking and structuring your day. She found out something really interesting. Just by having the line workers take the assessment, do nothing else. They just took the assessment. it statistically raised the level of empowerment that they felt by now, because they've started thinking about all the different tasks that they were doing. So they didn't have to do any work, just take the assessment, which takes about 5 to 7 minutes to take. And just having that, she got a really nice blip in empowerment. She did get the blip also in employee engagement and satisfaction. So she was able to push the needle using this approach. So,
because the employees were being seen and heard. And sometimes we're being heard by ourselves by figuring out what it is that we need. So tools like this is absolutely a needle mover. And I find it totally incredible. I think every business should have their employees go through this assessment, because it's so self-empowering to be able to know, what's my equation? I love that. What's your equation?
Yeah. Hey, and there's one thing I'll just mention real quickly, Lorianne, is that we've developed a process that we've done with many, many companies. And what we'll do is and we call it the task auction. And most organizations don't like reorganizations, but all of them are okay with task rebalancing. So what we do at a very high level is we have everyone take the assessment. We do the Lego exercise with them so that they can see that indeed what their assessment is indeed what their motivation is around routine troubleshooting and project work. And then what we do with the manager in the room, we have everyone plot all of the work that they're doing on the flow diagram. And anyone in the room, we do a task auction, and they can sell anything. No buying happens. They can sell any task that is not in flow that they would like to sell. And then we capture all that in an Excel sheet. And then once we have a snapshot of the entire team, anyone can bid on any tasks. So if there's something you're working on, it's like you have a 3-hour routine task that you don't want. And I thought, boy, I really like to learn about that. I can say, I want to bid on Lori's 3-hour task. Can I do that? And with the manager in the room, he or she can approve or decline it. Or a lot of times what happens is they'll partner or they'll split them up. And what we do is, and typically we can move 60 to 80% of the tasks. And because people are selling stuff they don't want, and they're buying stuff that they do want, you can imagine what happens. First of all, you don't have to sell anything because they've made the decision. That's really good for the manager. Yep. And second, they're going to get a chance to do something. Now, one of the things that we found out over and over and over again, there's this bucket of what they define as crap work that they don't want to do. And I will tell you 100% of the time, that is very, very routine administrative kind of stuff. And so what we recommend is, and we did a great case study with an IT organization of 18 people of doing this. We measured their performance or their job satisfaction over 18-month period and actually pumped everything way up. They were getting ready to hire this, at the time it was like $80,000 to $100,000 IT person. And the manager said, how about we hire an administrative assistant? All this crap work that you don't want to do, we'll get rid of all of it. And we'll give it to the administrative person, and that extra differential of $80,000 or whatever it was. When new projects come in, instead of giving it to that new person, we'll offer it to people that have that additional time because we've gotten rid of all the crap work.
The administrative work. It takes a lot of time. So, and it's frustrating, and you want to stay in your zone of genius. The really cool thing about this, and it goes back to one of the clients that I was working with and went in there and through assessing, it's always easy to come in and look from the outside because I'm not attached to anybody. I'm not attached to the end result. I'm not attached to the individuals. I just assess what's going on. And invariably when I do, people are sitting in the wrong seats. And that's why they're not being productive. And all we had to do is move a couple of people. If the manager and or owner was okay with it, move a couple of people's seat, and then suddenly productivity went through the roof. With this kind of assessment, you can back it up with stats. You can sit there and show them, this is why you'll be better over here.
Right.
And they'll be happier. And I love that thought about taking the work, that administrative work, that work that nobody wants to do, to someone who loves doing administrative work. There are people out there who love it, who
Yep.
love the beginning, the middle, the end, and the repetitiveness of that. And there are people in the world that are specific to that. I'm so grateful for people who, well, now they really don't have a much more around me, but toll takers, because I could never do that. Couldn't do that same repetitive task, but so grateful for people who do. And so grateful for my administrative assistants. Yes, I'm doing a shout out for my VAs. Love that they're able to do that, and so successfully and much more rapidly to allow me to stay in my zone of genius. And the same with you and the people you work with. How many companies do you work with that do this with you, Kevin? Because I think every company should bring you in. Every company.
Well, thanks for the plug. We've worked with, like I said, probably a dozen or so different companies, and there is a case study on our website. If you go to the Task Quotient, if you go to magnaleadership.com and you go to, I think it's either on their blogs or case studies, or just type in Task Quotient and it'll find it for you. Or you can send me a note, Kevin at Magna Leadership Solutions. I'll send you the personal copy of that. There's a ton of companies that first of all, you have to get the person making the decision on board. They're like, oh, this will work. And then once that'll work, particularly if they're doing the reorganization, because most companies we found really suck at doing reorganizations.
Yeah.
And we say first thing is don't do a reorganization, do a rebalance of tasks, and you're going to be incredibly happy.
Yeah. And I love that. They're not good at it because they're too close to it and they're not really seeing what they're reorging, and they actually reorg the same problems all over again. So it would be great to bring it in. Again, I want to remind everybody that there's a gift offer, a link so that you could do the TQ assessment yourself. Connect up with Dr. Kevin Gazzara at magnaleadership.com. More information will be attached to this recording and this production. So happy to have you on. Want to bring you back. So much to talk to you about. This is wonderful. And what I'm going to throw at a challenge is anybody who absolutely takes this, give me an email, shoot me an email. I'd love to have a conversation. Maybe we can bring them on the next time you're on the show. We can have a conversation of what it did, how it changed their lives, and have really a case study right on the radio. So I'd love to do that with you. Kevin, thank you for being on.
It's a pleasure. And if anyone wants to talk to me after I take the assessment, completely free, just send me a note and I'll be glad to walk you through the details or answer any of your questions.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you all for joining us today on Healthy Lifestyle. I hope we earned the privilege of your time. Again, I want to thank our guest today, Dr. Kevin Gazzara. You can find him at magnaleadership.com. Look for our show next Saturday at 3 p.m. We can be found on all major platforms. We would be so grateful if you please like, follow, share, and subscribe. Until next time, I am Coach Lorianne Casdia. Until then, play a higher role, serve a higher purpose, show up for you, and show up big. Have a good day, everyone.